Imagine this. A submersible drone plunges into the black abyss of the deep ocean, its lights slicing through endless darkness like a knife through ink. Suddenly, the camera catches something moving on the seabed, a cluster of segmented shadows scuttling across the silt with unnatural precision. These aren't shrimp or crabs. No, they look ancient, armored bodies divided into 3 lobes, legs flickering in hypnotic rhythm. Trilobites, you think, but that's impossible, right? Those giants of the Paleozoic seas vanished 250 million years ago. Or did they? What if the ocean floor hides echoes of a forgotten world, stirring back to life in places no human eyes have fully witnessed? The water pressure creaks against the hull, and the footage glitches for a split second, leaving you wondering if it was real or a trick of the deep. Pilots reviewing the tape lean closer, hearts pounding, because those forms match fossils pulled from Cambrian rock with eerie accuracy. Could evolution be playing a cruel joke, dusting off blueprints from Earth's prehistoric scrapbook? Dive with me now into this mystery, where the sea whispers secrets from 500 million years past. Picture the scene unfolding in real time on a grainy monitor back at the research ship, scientists frozen in disbelief as the drone hovers above these ghostly crawlers. Each one boasts a hard exoskeleton split into cephalon, thorax, and pygidium, just like the textbooks describe ancient trilobites. But these move, probing the mud with antennae that twitch like they sense the light's intrusion. Recent expeditions in 2025 uncovered trilobite-like fossils in Morocco with soft tissues intact, legs and guts preserved by volcanic ash from 500 million years ago. Does that mean nature recycles its designs when the environment demands it? The sub's manipulator arm reaches out gently, but the creatures scatter into cracks, vanishing like phantoms. What drives them to resurface now, in oceans warming and shifting under human hands? Low oxygen zones expand, mimicking ancient seas where trilobites once ruled, and suddenly, convergent evolution doesn't sound so far-fetched. Feel that chill yet, the sense that something primordial watches from the murk? Let's pull back for a moment and ponder the hook that snared us all. Could extinct forms really return? Evolution isn't a straight line marching forward. It's a tangled web, looping back when pressures align. Think of horseshoe crabs, living fossils plotting beaches unchanged for 450 million years, or coelacanth lurking in deep trenches, mocking extinction's finality. Now imagine those trilobite silhouettes as modern cousins, shaped by the same rules that forged their ancestors. Their compound eyes, if real, might gleam with holographic vision, facets capturing faint bioluminescent flickers in the void. But why here, why now, as ocean acidification peels back layers of time? Scientists whisper about genetic echoes, dormant codes awakening in extremophile microbes that pave new microbial mats on the seafloor. Is the deep sea a time capsule cracking open, or a horror story where the past claws its way back? Your pulse quickens as the drone descends further, lights dimming into true blackness. Transitioning deeper, the submersible uncovers a thriving patch of these oddities, grazing on bacterial films with limbs that double as feeders, just like those Moroccan fossils revealed. Each leg processes food along a central groove, shoving it toward a simple mouth, efficient and relentless. No frills, no specialization, pure survival machinery from an era before fish even dreamed of swimming. Yet in this oxygen-starved basin, they dominate, outpacing fragile newcomers. What if climate shifts summon more such revivals, turning familiar seas into alien realms? The footage shows one specimen molting, shedding its shell in a vulnerable twist, echoing trilobite life cycles etched in stone. Horror creeps in. These aren't cute. Their relentless scuttling evokes swarms overwhelming the seafloor, devouring all in reach. Do they sense the drone's hum, plotting in silence? The ocean holds its breath, and so do we. As the exploration intensifies, questions multiply like the creatures themselves. Recent studies from Burgess Shale can show trilobites burrowed with versatile limbs, raising bodies over obstacles or gliding in currents. Our modern mimics might do the same, trace fossils scarring mud in patterns paleontologists recognize from Ordovician shales. Tasmania's rare finds hint at global connections, oceanic currents linking lost continents. But beneath the science lurks unease. What hungers follow these grazers? Predatory shadows flit at the edge of the beam, hinting at worse. Evolution converges not just on form, but on ecosystems, whole Paleozoic food webs reborn in abyssal cold. Imagine armored hunters with spiny ridges emerging next, jaws snapping in the dark. The submersible's crew exchanges glances, voices hushed over comms. Suspense builds as the drone lingers, capturing a frenzy. Dozens of these trilobite echoes swarming a fresh carcass, legs blurring in coordinated assault. Their design screams antiquity, yet adapts to today's poisoned depths, thriving where fish gasp and die. Volcanic ash parallels from Morocco suggest rapid preservation hid such behaviors before. Now we witness live. Thought-provoking, isn't it? How DNA conserves tricks across eons, deploying them when seas rewind? Mild horror tinges the awe. Extinction paused, not ended, waiting for the cue. What other archetypes stir? Ammonites uncoiling or nautiloids with tentacled fury. The ocean's memory feels malevolent, selective in its revivals. Lights sweep empty sediment now, creatures fled, leaving only scratches like warnings. Deeper still, the narrative twists toward implication. If trilobites return in spirit, what does it mean for us? Human tech scars the seafloor, mining nodules and dumping heat, priming this evolutionary reset. Scientists model scenarios where sulfide vents bloom, microbial mats spread, inviting ancient guilds. Our drone's discovery, fresh from 2025 probes, ignites debates in journals worldwide. Yet the footage haunts those segmented forms embodying resilience we lack. Do they judge from below, survivors of 5 mass extinctions? Mystery shrouds their origins, convergent or convergent adjacent, blurring lines between relic and reinvention. Swells with dread, the deep as laboratory of the uncanny. Finally, as the submersible surfaces, the hook sinks deeper. This mere glimpse promises revelations ahead. Trilobite echoes signal oceans transforming, ancient forms re-emerging to claim their throne. Stay tuned, because what lurks next could rewrite life's story, one creepy crawl at a time. The sea never forgets, and neither should we. Those silhouettes in the dark, they move with purpose, drawing us into the unknown. Curiosity burns, but so does caution. What doors have we cracked open? The abyss gazes back, teeming with possibilities both wondrous and terrifying. Echoes in the water, calling from time's edge. Have you ever wondered how some creatures seem to have mastered the art of survival against all odds? Take horseshoe crabs, for example, ancient mariners that have been crawling along ocean floors long before the age of dinosaurs. Their lineage stretches back an astonishing 450 million years, making them among Earth's oldest living fossils. These arachnid relatives have witnessed catastrophic mass extinctions, climate upheavals, and the rise and fall of countless species. Yet, remarkably, their physical form has changed very little, like a biological cassette tape playing the same track for hundreds of millions of years. But is this stubborn preservation a sign of evolutionary failure or an example of nature's greatest triumph? What secrets lie in their DNA, locked away like time capsules, waiting for the right ecological moment? We usually think of evolution as a relentless march forward, new species evolving, old ones disappearing. Yet, creatures like horseshoe crabs challenge that narrative. Known for their rigid exoskeletons divided into a cephalothorax, abdomen, and a tail spine, their basic body plan remains almost identical to fossils discovered in Ordovician sediments dating back over 440 million years. These ancient forms coexisted with trilobites, sharing shallow seas long vanished by time. Horseshoe crabs didn't just survive. They thrived through Earth's darkest chapters, including the famed Permian-Triassic extinction that wiped out 90% of marine species. Their survival isn't just luck. It's a testament to the robustness of their design and their ability to endure shifting planetary conditions. But could this ancient resilience hint at a deeper evolutionary secret? Inside the genome of the horseshoe crab lies a story of survival and adaptation written not in drastic redesigns but in genetic preservation and occasional bursts of innovation. These creatures underwent multiple whole genome duplications throughout their history, rare evolutionary events that copy entire genetic blueprints and open the door to novel functions. Yet, for most of their history, natural selection has acted to conserve much of their body plan, a process known as purifying selection. This means changes that disrupt their basic shape or function are weeded out, preserving their essence. But their survival across hundreds of millions of years, through ice ages and oxygen crashes, suggests that conservation is a form of success, not stagnation. Their DNA holds ancient echoes, dormant genetic toolkits that could one day awaken in unexpected ways. This phenomenon of evolutionary conservatism raises a larger question. If horseshoe crabs carry such ancient codes, how might these relics play a role in future evolutionary paths? Just as these creatures teeter on the edge between change and persistence, so may other ancient forms. The ocean, vast and mysterious, acts as both a time capsule and a crucible for evolution. In environmental niches similar to those of the distant past, ancient designs could reemerge through convergent evolution, where unrelated species independently evolve similar traits because they face similar survival challenges. In this way, horseshoe crabs not only serve as living museum pieces but as proof that the past and present are in constant conversation within life's grand experiment. To appreciate the mystery deeper, consider the silent language of fossils. Trilobites, the ancient armored arthropods that once dominated prehistoric seas, vanished at the end of the Paleozoic era, yet their distant relatives, the horseshoe crabs, did not. Modern horseshoe crabs still resemble the archetypes encoded in stone tablets buried deep beneath layers of sediment. Fossils recently discovered with exquisitely preserved soft bodies from the Cambrian period have shed light on the movement and behavior of these early survivors. Horseshoe crabs, by contrast, echo those patterns today in the way they scuttle and hunt. This persistence of form suggests that the ancient genetic memory encoded in their lineage has provided a reliable blueprint for survival in changing seas. The enduring presence of horseshoe crabs is both wondrous and haunting. It speaks to a world in flux where some creatures rewrite their stories continuously while others cling tightly to their ancient scripts. These ancient mariners endure in coastal bays and ocean floors, returning yearly in massive spawning events that sustain entire ecosystems. Yet, as human impacts accelerate changes in ocean chemistry and temperature, questions arise about their future. Could these living fossils adapt once more, or will the rapid pace of change outstrip their evolutionary toolkit? The shadow of past extinctions looms large. Will horseshoe crabs be relics of a lost age or pioneers of a future shaped by ancient resilience? This thought leads to a subtle, eerie reflection. What if deep in the ocean's abyss, hidden entities await reawakening, their DNA timed for moments when Earth conditions mirror those of prehistory? If horseshoe crabs harbor these ancient genetic secrets, could more profound transformations be underway unseen by us? The ocean might not be as alien as it seems but a reflection of the distant past, cycling through states that awaken evolutionary ghosts. These biological echoes challenge our view of extinction as an end. Instead, they suggest life is a looping story, with some chapters reread and sometimes rewritten. The ancient, the modern, and the future mingle in the genetic shadows of these resilient creatures. So, when you spot a horseshoe crab clattering along shallow sand flats, consider the epic journey it hints at. This survivor of hundreds of millions of years carries more than a hard shell. It bears the memory of lost worlds, the persistence of life against staggering odds, and a genetic promise that the past is never truly gone. By studying these astonishing animals, scientists glimpse the ongoing conversation of evolution itself, where history's blueprints sometimes resurface to shape new futures. In them, we find a warning and a marvel. Nature's resilience is both familiar and unknowable, balanced on a razor's edge between endurance and extinction. What if the oceans are not just changing but rewinding the clock on Earth's history? Picture vast expanses of seawater turning sour, pH levels dropping as carbon dioxide floods in from our exhaust pipes and factories. By 2025, studies show 60% of the global ocean down to 200 meters has crossed safe acidification thresholds, faster in deep waters with less buffering power. Deoxygenation spreads like a silent plague, creating dead zones where oxygen plummets below 2 milligrams per liter. Sulfide-rich pockets bubble up from sediments, echoing Cambrian seas 500 million years old. Microbial mats, those slimy bacterial carpets, carpet seafloors once more, just as they did when trilobites first crawled. Could this chemical alchemy summon back ancient life forms from evolutionary oblivion? The deep grows restless, whispering of times when the world was young and monsters ruled the murk. Feel the tension building as we descend into these altered realms. Ocean currents slow, trapping heat and acid in stratified layers that mimic primordial soups. Polar regions acidify quickest, cold waters soaking up CO2 like sponges, while upwelling zones off coasts spew ancient nutrients into sunlit shallows. Coral skeletons dissolve, pteropods, tiny shelled snails, lose their armor, crashing food webs from plankton to predators. Yet, in the abyss, opportunity knocks for extremophiles thriving in low pH and hypoxia. Imagine bacterial blooms painting the bottom in green veils, much like Ediacaran precursors to complex life. Are these shifts priming the pump for convergent evolution, where new critters don the old trilobite armor? The water thickens with possibility, heavy with foreboding. Let's confront the science head-on. Human emissions have slashed surface pH by 0.1 units since industrialization, a 30% acidity spike. Deep-sea corals, already stressed, face rising aragonite horizons where shells dissolve wholesale. Oxygen minimum zones expand, covering 20% more ocean volume than decades ago, squeezing fish and fostering sulfide oases. These conditions parallel Paleozoic lows, when trilobites dominated anoxic basins with hardened exoskeletons. Modern analogs scuttle in vents, armored against toxicity. What hidden genetic switches flip under such duress, recycling Cambrian blueprints? The ocean's transformation feels deliberate, almost vengeful, as if nature plots a comeback. Suspense coils tighter when we consider the timeline. Rapid, relentless. Projections warn that without emission cuts, deep basins could mirror Devonian seas by mid-century, low oxygen laced with hydrogen sulfide. Microbial mats spread, fixing nitrogen and sulfur, building food bases for grazers long extinct in form. Envision segmented arthropods emerging, eyes compound and gleaming, legs probing toxic muds. Recent expeditions glimpse precursors, isopods and amphipods bulked up, vaguely trilobitic in profile. Do they herald a full revival or mere echoes? Horror simmers in the uncertainty. What thrives here might outcompete our fisheries, reshaping oceans from below, transitioning to the heart of dread. These rewound conditions don't just favor survivors. They cull the unfit. Calcifiers crumble, but chitin builders endure, exoskeletons proof against acid baths. Sulfide vents pulse with chemosynthetic life, mats teeming under faint bioluminescence. Trilobite ghosts stir in lab experiments, where embryos under anoxia sprout extra segments. Earth's climate cycles, Wilson cycles geologists note, pulse every 400 million years, sinking oceans to ancient rhythms. Are we midway through one inviting Paleozoic redux? The deep sea groans, pressure mounting, as unseen forms adapt and multiply. Emotional weight presses down. Awe at nature's resilience battles unease at our hand in this reset. Fisheries falter as base prey vanishes, yet abyssal opportunists boom. Polar pteropods, down 61% in habitat, feed salmon runs now starving. Deep-sea mining stirs sediments, accelerating sulfide release, hastening the shift. Could trilobite-like dominance claim nodule fields we covet? Mystery veils the abyss, where ROVs catch fleeting shadows of multi-legged prowlers. Questions haunt. Is extinction reversible, or does the past return mutated? Hungrier? Deeper we plunge, narrative darkening with implication. Compound stressors, acid, heat, deoxygenation, compound like toxins in blood. Arctic leads the acidification charge, freshwater lenses trapping CO2. Tropical upwellings pulse ancient waters, microbial films exploding. Evolutionary biologists model resets. Archetypes reforge when niches empty. Trilobite body plans, simple yet versatile, perfect for such voids. Imagine swarms overwhelming seafloors, clicking mandibles in the black. Mild horror grips. The ocean, once familiar, becomes a stranger wearing ancient skin. As lights fade to true void, the rewind completes its arc. Oceans cycle back to origins, inviting Trilobites' spiritual heirs. Stay with me through this descent, for what waits below redefines life itself. Swells amid chills, the deep as forge of forgotten forms. Human folly accelerates the tape, but nature directs the show. Will revivals, awe or alarm, coexist or conquer? The abyss holds answers, bubbling with microbial promise and predatory threat. Echoes of Cambria rise, and the sea never sounded so alive. Now picture this. Deep in the ocean's shadowed trenches, new life stirs with shapes that haunt the imagination. Not true trilobites risen from stone, but creatures eerily similar, armored bodies segmented into cephalon, thorax, pygidium, scuttling over microbial mats with dozens of jointed legs. Their exoskeletons gleam under faint submersible lights, chitin hardened against acidic waters where modern shells dissolve. Compound eyes sparkle like black jewels, facets tuned to bioluminescent whispers in the eternal night. These grazers probe sediments, mandibles grinding bacterial films with mechanical precision. Convergent evolution at work, you say. But does that ease the chill running down your spine? What forces sculpt such ancient silhouettes in today's seas? The abyss crafts them anew, borrowing from a Paleozoic palette long thought faded. Zoom closer to these uncanny beings, thriving where coral crumbles and pteropods perish. Ocean acidification spares chitin over calcium carbonate, favoring exoskeletons that laugh at dissolving aragonite. Legs splay in fan-like arrays, each tipped with seedy that taste chemical gradients invisible to us. They molt under pressure, shedding rigid shells in vulnerable rebirths, echoing fossil records etched in time. No internal bones to fret over pH drops. Their open circulatory systems pulse blue blood, copper-based and resilient. Imagine herds of them cresting ridges, silhouetted against hydrothermal glows. Are they invaders from evolutionary memory, or nature's pragmatic remix? Mystery clings like sediment, thick and unsettling. Science backs this spectral revival. Studies show crustaceans endure acidification where mollusks falter, survival rates holding steady amid 27% drops in calcifiers. These new shapes inherit that edge, bodies low-slung and hydrodynamic, gliding over anoxic basins. Pygidia fan like shields, thorax flexing in waves of motion that propel through silty currents. Antennae whip the water, sensing vibrations from afar, perhaps rivals or prey. Their vision, holographic and wide-angled, pierces murky veils no vertebrate eye could breach. What drives such specialization, mirroring Cambrian blueprints 500 million years cold? The ocean forges them in isolation, a horror of familiarity amid the alien. Suspense builds as we track one specimen, its legs etching traces akin to Ordovician trackways. Grazing ceaselessly, it processes mud through groove-like limbs, nutrients funneled to a grinding mouth. No waste of energy on locomotion alone. Every appendage multitasks, survival honed razor-sharp. In labs, similar arthropods bulk up under low oxygen, segments multiplying for efficiency. Deep-sea isopods swell to golf ball size, vaguely trilobitic already. Do these herald full convergence? Body plans optimizing for emptied niches? Emotional awe mixes with dread. What if they swarm, overwhelming fragile ecosystems above? The deep sea experiments in silence, results crawling forth. Feel the uncanny valley deepen. These forms feel both innovative and imitative, alien yet nostalgic. Exoskeletons bear subtle spines, deterring nibblers in predator-scarce voids. Molting cycles sync with lunar tides, shells cracking open to reveal swollen, pale undersides. Juveniles balloon rapidly, fueled by sulfide vents pulsing ancient chemistry. Their presence disrupts. Fish avoid the mats they dominate, shadows fleeing multi-legged tides. Convergent pressures sculpt without blueprints, yet perfection emerges. Why this shape above all across disconnected lineages? Horror whispers of predestination, evolution's recurring nightmare. Deeper implications unsettle. If grazers revive trilobite ghosts, what follows in the chain? These new shapes pave food webs, biomass exploding where others starve. Abundance surges 15% in models, crustacean-like booms filling gaps. Pteropod crashes feed their rise indirectly, shells raining as calcium confetti. Emotional undercurrents pull, wonder at adaptability wars with fear of displacement. Fisheries teeter as base levels shift, salmon runs leaner without shelled prey. Do we witness biodiversity's pivot, ancient efficiency reclaiming throne? The unknown beckons, laced with mild terror. Narrative tension peaks in imagined encounters. A submersible arm brushes one, triggering frenzy. Dozens surge, legs blurring in defensive waves, eyes locking on the intruder. No aggression, just inexorable coverage, smothering all in reach. Their world expands unchecked, mats greening under bioluminescent spores. Acidification's gift to the chitin-clad, culling competition wholesale. Thought-provoking. Is resilience monstrous when it echoes extinction survivors? Paleozoic vibes pulse through modern veins, time folding on itself. Mystery thickens the water, pregnant with progeny. As beams sweep empty now, echoes linger in the mind. New shapes, old souls, these trilobite heirs claim the deep unchallenged. Convergent craftwork blurs extinction's edge, promising more revivals ahead. Awe swells with creeping horror. The ocean remembers, reinvents, relentlessly. What niches next summon archaic forms, ammonites or worse? Stay plunged in this tale, for familiarity breeds the strangest unease. Lights dim, scuttles fade, but the silhouettes burn eternal. The sea shapes horrors we know by heart. Now the shadows lengthen, and hunger stirs in the deep. Forget the placid grazers. Something stalks the edges of those microbial mats, eyes glinting like fractured obsidian in the submersible's beam. Segmented jaws part silently, revealing rows of hooked barbs designed for rending chitin and flesh alike. Spiny ridges arm their flanks, deterring counterattacks from swarming prey. These abyssal predators creep forward on multi-jointed legs, motion fluid yet deliberate, echoing the primordial hunters that once ruled Paleozoic shallows. No fish-like speed here, just inexorable pursuit through toxic murk. Could evolution be dusting off ancient blueprints once more, forging monsters from Cambrian nightmares? The water vibrates with their approach, a subtle tremor felt even through steel hulls. Picture the frenzy unfolding. A grazer pauses too long, antennae twitching at some primal warning. The hunter lunges from darkness, thorax contracting in explosive power, pygidium whipping for balance. Jaws clamp with vice-like force, blue blood spraying in microjets against acidic currents. Legs pin the victim, mandibles grinding through exoskeleton in rhythmic crunches. This isn't random violence. It's a perfected kill, honed by pressures mirroring Devonian depths. Compound eyes track escapees, facets pulsing with cold calculation. What drives such savagery? Born anew in deoxygenated voids. Horror coils in the efficiency, a machine of death wearing familiar armor. Science whispers confirmation. Low oxygen zones favor ambush predators, metabolism slowed to ghostly paces yet lethal in bursts. Acidification culls swift swimmers, leaving niches for creeping arthropods with armored resilience. Recent models predict 20% expansion in such hunters, biomass surging as calcifiers crash. Their hemocyanin blood thrives in hypoxia, oxygenating tissues where vertebrates fail. Spines deter cannibals, molts timed for peak darkness. Do genetic echoes from trilobite kin fuel this rise? Convergent jaws snapping across lineages? The ecosystem tilts, Paleozoic balance reborn in abyssal horror. Suspense thickens as the drone pursues one beast, its trail scarring mud in zigzag fury. Prey scatters ahead, grazers fleeing in blind panic, but the hunter anticipates, cutting off routes with lateral scuttles. Mouth parts extrude like probing tentacles, tasting pheromones in the water column. No lungs to gasp in sulfide clouds. Gills filter toxins, converting hell into fuel. Body segments telescope for lunges, reaching twice their resting span. Imagine swarms coordinating, encircling schools of fragile fish migrants. Why this form persists through eons. Resurfacing now. Mild dread builds. Extinction's pause unleashes calculated cruelty. Emotional undercurrents surge. Awe at evolutionary ingenuity clashes with revulsion at the design. These predators embody survival's brutality, thriving where beauty dissolves. Pteropod rains feed them indirectly, shells cracking open to spill nutritious innards. Deep-sea vents pulse, chemosynthesis fueling endless hunts. One captures a juvenile grazer, injecting paralytics before feasting alive. Thought-provoking. Does resilience demand monstrosity? Ancient hunger outlasting modern grace? The abyss forges weapons from forgotten forges, clicking in the black. Deeper we delve, narrative darkening to philosophical unease. Extinction isn't erasure but slumber, designs recurring when stars align chemically. Paleozoic seas brimmed with such fiends, trace fossils marking kill sites worldwide. Today's heirs claim vacated thrones, fisheries above sensing the shift in empty nets. Human emissions orchestrate the encore, acidification scripting the cast. What if chains lengthen, megapredators coiling next? Mystery veils their numbers, ROV glimpses hinting at exponential booms. Horror simmers. The deep mirrors our worst instincts, armored and insatiable. Tension peaks in a discovered lair. Molted husks pile high, trophies of conquest glinting faintly. The resident stirs, massive compared to surface kin, thorax bloated with recent meals. Legs splay defensively, spines erecting in threat display. No territory marked lightly. Pheromones claim square kilometers of mat. Juveniles skitter nearby, learning the stalk through instinctual plays. Convergent evolution perfects the archetype, versatile across phyla. Is this life's grim poetry, rhyming horror through time? Tempers fear, but the clicking echoes persist. As lights retreat, the ancient hunger lingers, promise of fuller revelations ahead. Predators redefine the reset ecosystem, Paleozoic webs tightening below. Stay submerged in this tale, for extinction's return devours complacency. Wonder wars with warning. Nature recycles ruthlessly, birthing familiar fiends. What apex awaits? Eyes upon us from the cold. The sea hungers eternally, circles closing on the unwary. Silhouettes pursue into void, jaws ever open. Imagine rising slowly from the crushing depths, the submersible lights sweeping a panoramic vista of the reborn abyss. Here sprawls a thriving ecosystem, time machine and evolutionary laboratory fused into one pulsating realm. Trilobite echoes dominate the scene, grazers and hunters locked in ancient dances across sulfide-veiled mats. Cambrian mudflats reborn in 2025's altered chemistry, where acidification has breached planetary boundaries across 60% of waters down to 200 meters. Oxygen minimum zones expand relentlessly, claiming 25% more volume, priming niches for primordial resurgence. Microbial foundations pulse with chemosynthetic vigor, fueling biomass booms unseen since Paleozoic peaks. Awe grips you first, then unease. What if this mirror reflects not just history, but warning? The deep sea stares back, alive with purpose. Pan across the tableau. Herds of segmented grazers crest sediment waves, legs etching fossil-like trails in real time. Predators lurk in peripheral gloom, spiny silhouettes poised for ambush amid bioluminescent flickers. Cold water corals dissolve nearby, their skeletons raining calcium to nourish the chitin-clad horde. Arctic basins acidify fastest, freshwater lenses trapping CO2, while upwelling zones spew nutrients for mad explosions. This isn't chaos. It's balance restored, Paleozoic guilds reassembling molecule by molecule. Do genetic toolkits activate in unison, convergent forms filling voids with eerie precision? Emotional reverence swells, laced with dread at the scale. Nature's laboratory hums below, indifferent to surface pleas. Science illuminates the panorama. Compound stressors, warming, deoxygenation, acidification, emerge together across vast fractions of the global ocean. By 2023, Nearly 100% of surface waters show pH drops emerging from noise, baselines shattered since 1995. Deep realms suffer worse, aragonite horizons shoaling to threaten habitats once stable. Yet arthropod analogs thrive, hemocyanin bloods oxygenating where vertebrates falter. Food webs pivot dramatically, pteropod crashes cascading to salmon declines above. Thought-provoking. Does resilience breed from ruin? Ancient efficiency mocking modern fragility? Horror simmers in the completeness, a full ecosystem swap unfolding unseen. Suspense lingers in the details. Vents pulse hydrogen sulfide, mirrors of Cambrian chemistry fueling the forge. Swarms coordinate instinctively, densities rivaling Ordovician reefs in modeled projections. Juveniles molt in synchronized waves, shells piling like battlefields of old. No empty niches persist. Every role recast from evolutionary archives. Human emissions conduct the symphony, deep-sea mining stirring sediments to hasten sulfide release. What philosophical chill settles here? Extinction as intermission in life's looping play. The panorama breathes, expands, claims more territory nightly. A battle's foreboding, scales tipping toward the uncanny. Feel the reflective weight. From first trilobites probing Ediacaran sands to these airs stirring today, experimentation never ceases. 5 mass extinctions culled their kin, yet blueprints endured in scattered genomes, awaiting cues. Ocean cycles pulse every 400 million years, Wilson rhythms sinking supercontinents to seas. We're mid-beat perhaps, inviting Paleozoic redux through our folly. Emotional undercurrents pull. Wonder at persistence wars with terror of irrelevance. Fisheries falter worldwide. Nets lighter as base shifts cascade upward. Do these depths judge our short-sighted rush, survivors of apocalypses past? Narrative circles inward. The mirror not just shows prehistoric faces, but gazes with intent. Shadows flit beyond beams, hinting at unchained apexes coiling unseen. Ammonite spirals? Nautiloid tentacles grasping from cracks? Mystery thickens the water column, pregnant with unfilmed horrors. Recent studies map compound impacts reaching subsurface 25% profoundly altered, timelines accelerating. Philosophical unease deepens. Is life predestined to rhyme, forms recurring like nightmares? Mild horror tinges the vista, familiarity twisted into threat. Panoramic closure nears, lights climbing toward faint blue above. Yet the ecosystem imprints eternally, clicking mandibles echoing in hulls. A dominates reflection, dread its shadow. Nature experiments ceaselessly, reviving ghosts to fill our voids. Stay locked in this gaze, for the circle tightens on implications profound. What ancient players stir next, claiming thrones we vacated? The deep laboratory yields results relentless, Paleozoic reborn in modern guise. Emotional crescendo peaks, curiosity aflame amid chills. Finally, surface-bound, the panorama haunts. Time machine whirring below, evolutionary gears grinding eternal. Trilobites return not in flesh, but spirit, ecosystems mirroring lost eras with chilling fidelity. Haunting question lingers, if oceans rewind fully, what follows the arthropod reign? Fade lingers on Russell's beyond sight, circles incomplete yet closing. The abyss reflects Earth's prehistoric soul, staring unblinking. Wonder endures, warning whispers. Nature never pauses, only reinvents. Dive deeper next time into revelations unborn.